The Philippine government has revealed that construction of the military runway on Balabac Island, located in Palawan, is nearing completion. This island is a strategic point in the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement between the Philippines and the United States. This agreement, signed back in 2014, was a direct response to China's growing influence in the West Philippine Sea. It gives the U.S. military access to various Philippine bases, allowing joint training and cooperation for disaster relief and humanitarian efforts. Initially, 5 locations were chosen for the agreement, including Basa Airbase in Pampanga, Fort Magsaysay, Lumbia Airbase, Antonio Bautista Airbase, and Mactan Benito Ebuan Airbase. But last year, 4 new sites were added to the list: Balabac Island, Naval Base, Camilo Osias in Cagayan, Lalo Airport in Cagayan, and Camp Melchor F. de la Cruz in Isabela. The 3-kilometer runway on Balabac Island is part of the broader Building Infrastructure for Peace and Security initiative, which began in 2017. What's interesting is that this runway isn't just for military purposes. It's built to handle both military and civilian aircraft. This project is a priority for the Marcos administration, aimed at opening up the southern regions to new investments, improving transportation, and boosting the tourism industry. Now 90% complete, the project is funded through a partnership between the Department of Public Works and Highways and the Department of National Defense, promising to have a lasting impact on the region. Excluding the disputed Spratly Islands, the municipality of Balabac holds the title as the westernmost point in the Philippines. Located near the Balabac Strait, it lies across from the island of Saba. This town, situated in Palawan, is strategically close to China's military fortifications in the West Philippine Sea, making it a significant player in the region. Balabac Island, nestled in the southern tip of Palawan province, also stands as the westernmost undisputed island in the Philippines. Its shores touch the West Philippine Sea, which forms part of the broader South China Sea, an area embroiled in territorial disputes between the Philippines and mainland China. Just 140 nautical miles from Balabac lies Mischief Reef, a location China seized in 1995, transforming it into one of their largest artificial islands, right within the Philippines' 370-kilometer exclusive economic zone. Balabac plays a crucial role for the Philippine Navy, hosting one of the country's most strategically important naval stations. What's more, it's set to serve as a vital location for U.S. military operations under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA. Meanwhile, another key development is taking place at Basa Airbase in central Luzon, where the U.S. is investing in a major upgrade. The Pentagon recently awarded a $32 million contract to redevelop the airfield as part of a larger effort to bolster the military capabilities of both nations. This initiative, funded under the Pacific Deterrence Initiative, is part of a broader strategy to counter China's growing influence in the Indo-Pacific. With the planned upgrades, Basa Airbase will soon feature a massive 625,000 square foot parking apron capable of accommodating up to 20 aircraft. The improvements are aimed at strengthening the base's infrastructure, ensuring it's fully equipped for joint training exercises between U.S. and Philippine forces. Acciona CMS Philippines LLC has come out on top, winning the bid over 4 other competitors for the construction of a new parking apron, shoulders, and taxiway at Basa Airbase. This base, traditionally home to the country's fighter squadrons, has become a focal point for several projects under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA. Signed in 2014, EDCA allows the U.S. access to Philippine military bases for rotating troop deployments and the construction of key facilities, with final approval coming from Manila. Although the ongoing construction at Basa falls under the EDCA agreement, it's being financed by the Pentagon's Pacific Deterrence Initiative, PDI. With China identified as the primary threat in the region, PDI's goal is to boost deterrence efforts by investing in key infrastructure, cutting-edge capabilities, and strategic partnerships. For fiscal year 2024, the Pentagon is asking for a staggering $9.1 billion to support these efforts. For Basa's upgrades specifically, the U.S. Air Force has emphasized that these investments are vital for continued training and modernization of the Philippine military. However, current Philippine Air Force modernization efforts at Basa have fallen short in one key area. There isn't enough aircraft parking space to accommodate U.S. aircraft. While EDCA originally covered 5 military bases across the Philippines, it expanded to include 9 in 2023. Out of the $82 million poured into EDCA projects between 2014 and 2023, a significant $66 million has been allocated to Basa alone. These funds have supported the creation of a humanitarian assistance warehouse, renovations to the runway, and new command facilities. Notably, the Marine Corps also deployed unarmed MQ-9A Reaper drones to Basa for reconnaissance and surveillance, enhancing intelligence-sharing efforts between U.S. and Philippine forces. While the exact number of drones deployed to Basa remains unclear, open-source imagery reveals that containers used to transport them are visible behind the Air Defense Alert Command hangars. This subtle but significant detail coincides with recent announcements from senior U.S. officials, who unveiled an additional $128 million in EDCA funding. This new financial boost comes on the heels of an unprecedented $500 million foreign military financing package aimed at modernizing the armed forces of the Philippines and the Philippine Coast Guard. The news broke during last month's 2+2 ministerial dialogue in Manila, and the new funding is set to cover projects at 7 out of the 9 EDCA sites. Both the Philippines and the U.S. have praised EDCA as a game-changer in helping modernize the Philippine military, with new infrastructure and expanded joint training exercises being top priorities. The urgency of these investments has grown in recent years, as tensions between Manila and Beijing have escalated over territorial disputes in the South China Sea, particularly around the Second Thomas Shoal, and efforts to resupply the Philippine Marine garrison stationed there. Basa Airbase, which was constructed just before World War II and has been used by both U.S. and Imperial Japanese forces throughout history, now serves as the home of the Philippines' only fighter squadron. This squadron includes 12 FA-50PH Fighting Eagles, Korean-made jets that form the backbone of the country's limited air defense capabilities. These fighters train annually with U.S. counterparts, and in 2023, they reached a major milestone, training with the cutting-edge F-22 Raptors. It was the first time a U.S. fifth-generation fighter had ever touched down in the Philippines. As the country enters the next phase of its military modernization, all eyes are on the Philippine Air Force as it inches closer to selecting a jet for its multi-role fighter program. The future of the country's air defense capabilities is taking shape, and the world is watching. While the Philippine government seems to be leaning toward the Swedish JAS-39 Gripen, many officials still see the American F-16 Fighting Falcon as a strong contender. Whichever fighter jet they ultimately choose, it's likely these advanced aircraft will be stationed at Basa and other key EDCA sites across the country. Meanwhile, the U.S. Navy has ramped up its presence in the Indo-Pacific by deploying a powerful new air-to-air missile that could significantly diminish China's aerial advantage. This move underscores the growing strategic focus on projecting military power in a region marked by rising tensions. Enter the AIM-174B, a game-changing weapon with a staggering range of 400 kilometers. In comparison, China's PL-15 missile only reaches 250 kilometers, giving U.S. jets a huge edge. With this missile, U.S. aircraft can strike key Chinese targets like command and control planes, while staying far beyond the reach of China's defenses, keeping both their pilots and aircraft carriers safer. Currently stationed in Australia, this new missile system could very well find its next home in the Philippines once the Basa Airbase upgrades are complete. But the Philippines isn't just relying on its allies. They're ramping up their own defenses too, as the country continues to assert its claims in the West Philippine Sea. An airport is being developed on Pagasa Island, Thitu Island, one of the contested Spratly Islands. Last week, the Philippine President's Communications Office announced that land procurement for the runway extension is already underway. Once finished, this will make travel to and from Pagasa much more efficient, not just for civilians living there, but also for the military personnel stationed on the island. Plus, the expanded runway will be able to accommodate larger military aircraft, further strengthening the Philippines' presence in these disputed waters. This bold move highlights Manila's determination to stand its ground, even as China continues to push its expansive claims in the region, claims that were already rejected by the 2016 arbitral ruling. As the Philippines sends more vessels into these contested seas, confrontations with Beijing seem almost inevitable. But one thing's clear: Manila isn't backing down. A strategic military runway on Balabac Island, located in Palawan province near the South China Sea, is nearing completion. This island is one of the 4 new locations where the U.S. military now has access, thanks to an expanded defense agreement from last year. These infrastructure projects aren't just about military might. They're central to the Marcos administration's vision for transforming the region south of the capital. With a focus on boosting investments, improving transportation, and strengthening the tourism sector, this initiative is set to reshape the area's future as part of a broader strategy to strengthen its foothold in contested waters. The Philippines has also ramped up its efforts on Pagasa Island, known internationally as Thitu Island. The construction of an airport there is expected to significantly enhance travel to and from this remote island. Not only will it streamline supply routes, but it could also open up new opportunities for tourism and investment in the region. However, this development is likely to intensify tensions between Manila and Beijing. Pagasa Island, located about 285 nautical miles off Palawan, is a critical piece of land in the contested South China Sea. Despite China's claims, the Philippines has long maintained both a military and civilian presence there, with around 200 Filipinos currently living on the island. In 1978, the government officially established a municipality under Palawan province, further solidifying its claim as the largest island in the Spratly Island group that the Philippines controls. Thitu Island plays a key role in the country's territorial defense. In addition to Thitu, the Philippines also occupies 8 other features in the South China Sea, including the strategically important Second Thomas Shoal, locally known as Ayungin. These areas fall within the nation's Exclusive Economic Zone, EEZ, adding another layer of complexity to the ongoing dispute with China. Meanwhile, on the nearby island of Lawak, the Philippine Congress has earmarked 800 million pesos to develop a fishing port to encourage civilian settlements. Lawak Island, spanning 7.3 hectares and located just 98 miles east of Pagasa, is set to play a pivotal role in the country's efforts to strengthen its presence in the West Philippine Sea. This port development is separate from the 1.5 billion pesos allocated for expanding the airport on Thitu Island. As Manila continues to assert its sovereignty, it's clear that the Philippines is committed to enhancing its presence in these contested waters, both through military and civilian means. The Philippine government is ramping up its defense strategies, especially around the western and northern regions of the archipelago, as tensions with China continue to rise. With China persistently intruding into the country's Exclusive Economic Zone, EEZ, the Philippines is shifting its focus to strengthening external defense partnerships. This aligns with the military's adoption of the Comprehensive Archipelago Defense concept, a necessary move as maritime security threats intensify in the West Philippine Sea and the northern waters near Taiwan. As part of this defense strategy, the Philippines is rolling out new infrastructure projects to support military operations and bolster its defensive network. The government's resolve to enhance its military capabilities is more urgent than ever, as Chinese incursions into Philippine waters show no signs of slowing down. A recent incident on August 25th underscores this growing tension. At around 2:11 p.m., a a Chinese Coast Guard vessel, CCG 21551, aggressively rammed the Philippine vessel BRP Datu Sande near Skoda Shoal, just 10 nautical miles from the contested area in the West Philippine Sea. The Chinese vessel struck the Datu Sande multiple times, followed by a brazen water cannon assault aimed at disabling the ship's navigational equipment. This outright act of hostility not only raises tensions but also poses a direct threat to Philippine sovereignty. The attack was intended to block a humanitarian mission, as the Datu Sande was on its way to resupply Filipino fishermen with diesel, food, and medical supplies. The situation escalated when multiple vessels from China's People's Liberation Army Navy, PLAN, and China Coast Guard attempted to encircle and obstruct the Philippine ship. The aggressive maneuvers included horn blasts, ramming attempts, and continuous water cannon assaults. These unprofessional and dangerous actions ultimately caused engine failure on the Philippine vessel, forcing an early end to the humanitarian mission. This blatant aggression put the lives of the Filipino crew and fishermen at serious risk and further highlighted the escalating danger in the region. The Philippines remains steadfast, however, in its efforts to protect its waters and its people, even in the face of increasingly hostile actions from China. Despite these aggressive and dangerous maneuvers, the crew aboard the BFAR vessel remains in high spirits, safe, sound, and unharmed. However, China's state-run propaganda machine has already jumped into action, falsely claiming that Filipino personnel fell overboard and were heroically rescued by the Chinese Coast Guard. These claims are utterly baseless, showcasing yet again how the PRC distorts the truth to shape public perception in its favor. The incident took place near Half Moon Shoal, roughly 60 nautical miles from Palawan, while Sabina Shoal, another hotspot, lies about 110 nautical miles away. Both areas are well within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. Yet despite international law and repeated warnings, China continues its provocative actions in these waters, further destabilizing regional peace and security. The Philippine government is not backing down. It has made it clear that these hostile actions must stop, urging the People's Republic of China to end these destabilizing maneuvers. The Philippines stands firm in asserting its rights, grounded in international law, including the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, UNCLOS, and the 2016 Arbitral Award, which rejected China's sweeping claims over the South China Sea. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome content. See you next time.